Hey there, folks. So, last episode we started working on getting the AI perception set up, and we ended off with these couple of functions being added in. So, we defined the on target detection and the setup perception. And I spelled that wrong, so I'm going to have to fix that perception configuration. I'm going to fix that in the header as well. Perception configuration. And from there, as I said, we ended off, we needed to expand on that, and there was a lot more to do. So, first thing I'm going to do, though, we're going to head back to our source file, and we're going to call this setup perception configuration within the constructor. So, and that's just to make sure, much like we did with the TF character, that it's called on construction. So, I'm going to get rid of the on possess and our minimize that, and we'll minimize the target detection for now as well. So now, as I mentioned, this is going to get pretty complicated, so I'm going to try and work through this as best I can. Obviously, if there's any questions, though, please feel free to throw them in the comments, hop into Discord and ask there, and I will do my best to help out. AI is not my strongest suit, at least with Unreal Engine, so I do apologize. But so first thing, there is a couple of headers we need to include. So first one is include perception, and then this is AI perception component. We also need to include perception, and this one is we're gonna add to this as we add additional perception types. But it is AI sense config site. So now that we've got that, the next thing we want to do is we actually want to start setting up this perception logic. So what we want to do here, we want to just make sure we get this configuration variable name correct. So I'm just going to copy that. That's because I have horrible typo issues. So we're going to go site config equals create default subobject, very standard approach for Unreal, UAI sense config site. And then just text site configuration. Now, much like we did with the character, it's if site config. We're going to start doing a bunch of other things with that. So this is where it's going to start getting complicated because there's a lot of information here. I'm going to try and cover these as I go through them. So first thing you want to do is set perception component. And for that, we want to create default subobject UAI perception component. And I'm going to name that the perception component. And what this is doing is it's adding a perception component to the controller. You could add this independently, but what's it complaining about? Yeah. Do you not like that? Okay, we do have to add that. So, okay, so we're going to add that to the controller as well. Call this a, what was that again? It is a UAI perception component. That's going to have to be a class. Pointer perception component. All right. So I'm trying to get a little fancy when I should probably keep things basic. So what we're going to do here actually is perception component equals create default subobject UAI perception component text perception component. Now, if this fails, we don't want to do anything else. So if perception component, come on, I fixed it. Actually, no, we can do this. I'm going to do this a different way. If not valid perception component, we're going to do like I've done before. We're just going to return. We don't need to execute any additional logic. Our perception component doesn't exist, so the rest of this logic is useless. So we're going to do it that way. I just fix these tab lines, indentations. All right, there we go. Sorry. So this is where we want to now call set perception component, and I believe that has to be a reference in this case. No, pointer. Okay, so what we're doing here, just to quickly clarify, we are creating a perception component. If that fails, nothing else is going to work. So we want to drop out, and actually to do add logged error message. So now we've set perception component. What we're doing here is we're saying, okay, for this controller, use this perception component. Now, this is where you are going to define your configuration options. So what we actually are going to ultimately end up doing is we're going to set this at something we can modify within the editor. But for now, we're just going to do it all here at a code level. So first things first, site config. And you can see there is a ton of sub options there. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to drop back one, copy that, because we're going to be doing this a lot. Site radius equals, I'm going to start with 1,000 just for ease. And then this one is last, no. Oh, what are some of these options in here? Let's see. I sort of wish they grouped these between, like, had some sub-organization, so there's like functions and variables. Auto success range for last seen. Let's see, what else we got? Oh, there's a lot of options, including all the executes. So, is it lose site radius? There we go. That was the one I wanted. Equals, again, we're going to want to set this up to, actually, can we do this? Yeah, I'm going to add 100 to that. I think that might work. I'm not sure. So now, one of the big ones, as I mentioned, it's their field of view. So site config, I know I got that in my, no, I copy pasted something else. FOV field angle. Let's peripheral vision angle degrees. Is that the right one? I'm going to assume so. So now this is where you're going to have, like, some animals have, say, a 90-degree field of vision, some have 180. For this very basic one, we're just going to go with your default 90. Because though this ultimately is going to be for something like a deer, 90 degrees is sort of a nice cone in front. So what was the other one? Site config, something about age was one of the other ones. Set max age. Okay, so this is how long it will be considered a valid perception object. So in this case, it's how long after I've seen it once do I still count as seeing it. So what we want to do there is, in my case, I wanted something short. I'm going to go for like 2 seconds. Just because what that is that's, okay, so the deer's seen it. Using this deer example, the deer's seen it. It's turning around to run away. Well, I'm going to let it run for 2 seconds, and then it's going to sort of stop. Again, you're going to want to make that a variable. So I'm trying to think what else we need to do here. There's actually quite a few options. So I've got it open up on the side screen here with some of the various different options. So so there is one here, and this is going to be down to your game. So for example, if you have like only 2 or 3 from what I'm going to call for this description, factions. So you have like humans, animals, zombies. I'll use that for an example. You have the ability to set something what's called detect by affiliation. And by default within Unreal Engine, there's 3. There's friendlies, there's neutrals, and there's enemies. However, because of the nature of the game I'm working on, there's going to be far more than 3. So it's going to be really hard to, well, I don't want to say factions, there's going to be more than 3. Every every creature is going to have those 3 types. However, it's defining them. So I'm actually going to handle that down in the on target detected section. So the next one is going to be, we need to actually now set a few things up now that we've got the configuration, or this basic configuration. And there, as I said, there is a bunch of other things in here. I don't know what they're all for. We may come back and have to edit some stuff in the future as I figure some of this out. So the next thing though, it is get perception component. Oh, we don't need to get it. We've got it. So perception component, set domain sense, and that is site config. What? Oh, no, there's a function there. That's why. Get sense implementation, that's why. All right. So now this is where we are going to set this function up. So it's perception component on target perception info updated or updated. Notifies all bound objects that the perception of is updated for a given target. The notification is broadcast for all received. Okay, so yeah, we want just updated. Now this is much like if you're adding an overlap trigger or an overlap event, things like that. It's add dynamic. That's this. And then it's the function, which is a reference to that, I believe. What do you mean? I mean, it doesn't have that. Or maybe that doesn't need to use the get perception component. No, okay, I'm going to undo that. Okay, just because this error is concerning me a little bit, I'm going to do a build here. I'm going to just make sure this is working, because my understanding of when I look through all of this, all of the notes, is what this is doing is saying, okay, when we are getting a perception update, we're going to call this. So, okay, that failed. Add dynamic. What? Okay, let me just take a look at this again. So, okay, get perception component. And that returns the UAI perception component, which is, we've set that. So on there, then it is on target add, it's right there. Add dynamic. Did I just have a typo? Yeah, I must have had a typo. Wow, I'm having one of those days. Okay, so I'm going to just copy this. Now let's undo all of this, because now that's just frustrating. Oh, yeah, I had a typo. I can't spell dynamic. That's my issue. All right, so now that we've added that, what we've done, sorry, that took me a little longer to figure out than I wanted to. What we've done there is basically like with our sphere colliders on our player character here, where we have the, let me find it, these overlap events where we're detecting for an interactive actor. Excuse me. What we're doing is we're just saying, okay, when this particular function is called on the AI perception component, pass through the information to this function. So that's what we're doing there. So going back to the AI controller. So what this is saying is, okay, when we have determined we're seeing a new target, call this, we want you to call this function. So that's what that's done there. And all right, now that that part is done, we want to obviously add in some configuration data, I believe. So perception component, configure sense, site config. Okay, and yeah, that needs to be a pointer because the way it's expecting it. So that should be con. All right, so now that we've done this here, we're only 18 minutes in, we're going to want to start looking at the on-target detected. But what I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to if gengine add on-screen debug message, key 0, time display, F color red, AI saw something. So what this is this is just a code level presenting that message on screen. We did that with our tree harvest actor. Yes, I'm pretty sure we did. Maybe I got rid of it. Was on harvest. So harvest state. I must have got rid of it in here. But yeah, that's where that's the on-screen debug message at a C++ level. Oh no, I wrote that in Blueprints. That's why. So we are going to build this quickly, and we're going to see if there's been any changes to this with our AI. Genuinely, I'm not expecting anything. Like I say, I'm still trying to figure all of this out. Yeah. All right, and there we go. So we're going to hop into the editor here. And just while this loads up, what my sort of goals are here is we'll be expanding this on target detected to do things like, okay, is it a TF character? Okay, it's a TF character. What is its AI type or character type? That's a new data type I'm thinking of adding in, and that'll be able to generate effectively a state machine to determine. Okay, there's something not working with our perception there because the AI is walking straight to us. Okay, what didn't work there? So okay, so we're going to go there. Okay, so that is valid. Site config is valid. Okay. That is working, so I wonder what else I've missed here. Okay. Give me one moment. I'm going to look through some of the notes I took just to see if I've missed something glaring. All right, so looking over my notes, I think it was actually when I started talking about factions and things like that, I think I missed something there. So what we want is in here, it's site config, detection by affiliation dot detect enemies. We want that to be true. And I'm going to copy this part just because detect friendlies equals true. We want it to detect everything. And detect neutrals equals true. Actually, I think I just seen a function that'll do all of that. Detect all flags. No, that's get. Okay, no, these are returns. Okay, so no, we do want to set those that way. So let's give this a shot. So I'm going to close out of the editor here. I'll let this stop debugging. So I'm going to launch another build so this all gets recompiled, and I'll be back in the editor once this is done. All right, so we're back in the editor here, and let's see if that actually fixed my issue. Okay, so we're calling that. We're hitting that. Okay, that's good. Nothing failed there. Maybe I'm missing something. Oh, nope, there we go. Okay, so that was the issue, is we didn't have the site config detect by affiliation set correctly. That was the issue. So as you can see up here in the top left, AI saw something. So okay, so I'm actually going to end this episode here just because the next portion is going to take a bit of time. We need to go through and expand our TF character, create a new data type, and a few other things there. So with that, folks, as always, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next episode.